looking for some organization ideas that are maybe a little less conventional and a bit easier on the budget? Hi, I'm Jess from jesscrafts.com, and I'm here to help you make the most of your crafty supplies and time. So let's take a look. I have realized over the years there's a couple of ways that I organize that are a little bit different than what I see in a lot of other craft rooms. I'll start with one of the most popular things that I don't do, and that is stamp pockets. Not saying there's anything wrong with stamp pockets, it just doesn't work for me. I like to keep the backer sheet from the company, and if you get a traditional 4x6 stamp set, the backer sheet does not fit in a traditional stamp pocket. You have to remove it. I also organize my stamps in my Kallax drawers, which I will show you because that is also a little bit different, and it's a little bit more, I think it's better for a small space because Kallax drawers fit well in a small space, and a lot of times what I see is that people are storing these in Kallax drawers, which is also open storage, like the fridge bins inside of a Kallax, and I don't like open storage. I like closed storage. So I do get different sizes of bags. I do find them to be a little bit cheaper than the stamp pockets as a per bag price. I do get the 4mm bags when I can because they're a little bit thicker, they really hold up, they zip completely shut. A stamp pocket usually has a flap, and I've never known that to be a problem for anyone, but you know, things could fall out. They probably won't, but this is, you know, a little bit more secure. You can put dies in the back. I don't happen to have any dies in the back of these ones, but just as much as you could put a die in the back of the stamp pocket, you could put the die set in the back of your zip top bags. If you don't want to repackage your stamps, because that costs money, that wastes resources in the sense of you're buying new plastic bags, then just cut the top off of a new stamp set. So I don't like having to continuously open this sticky thing on the back, which is how you would, you know, traditionally get into the stamp set. But I find that if I pull that over time, the bag rips. And so instead I just cut off the top, and I find this lasts a little bit longer, and it's also just easier to get to because I'm not dealing with the sticky. So I would just use this as long as you can. And then when this bag breaks, maybe getting a few zip top bags or something like that. So it still fits in the same storage system because as you can see, the zip top bag is not that much wider. And yeah, so that's just my thought of like how you could save money and do something that's a little bit different than what I see a lot of people doing. Again, not knocking anybody's, just showing a different thought. Generally 6x6 pattern paper packs. I have seen others using these like little plastic bags to put their 6x6 paper in, and I think Simon Says Stamp sells them. This is just a paper pad that happened to come in a plastic bag, which is not very, like, it doesn't happen very often, but I just cut off the top and I said, you know, I'll use this as is until it starts to break. And then I'm gonna switch to what I normally do for my 6x6 paper pads, which is to put them in quart size zip top bags. I use the freezer ones because they're a little bit thicker, and it stores a 6x6 pattern paper, and then you can seal it. It also stores 6x8 pattern paper, but you cannot seal it. That's not usually too big of a deal for me personally. What I like about this system is that if you have any scraps, like there happens to be one here, it's rare for me because I have a lot of no scrap paper busting templates and I use pattern paper all the time. So you can head to jesscrafts.com, which will be linked in the video description, and you'll find my free paper busting templates so you can use up all your pattern paper. But if I have scraps, they all go in the bag. I know that some people, what they do instead is they take their scraps and they just kind of tuck it into the pad, and then they put them like in fridge bins or baskets, and these do go in baskets, but I really do prefer putting them in the bags first. It's a little bit more expensive, and so maybe this one's a bit more like actually more expensive than what you might traditionally see, but I think it's worth it. I don't think this one is as unique, but it is inexpensive. And that is using random boxes to organize. So I don't often go to the Dollar Tree and buy a bunch of bins to organize things. Instead, I just save sturdy boxes. So this one had a Target dollar spot, oh there, you can see it on the back, Valentine's set from years ago that I bought because I wanted to like reuse these. And then I just saved the box, and it's a really cute color. The sides actually aren't even decorated, which if they were, you could cover them, or, you know, they're sitting in a drawer so you don't really see it. But generally, I find that you can get really sturdy boxes. Cell phones come in super sturdy boxes. Not that we get those all that often, but definitely save them, like all kinds of electronics. But I just find things in general, these little boxes, I just keep a whole bunch inside of a bigger box, and then when I need something like a tray, instead of going to the Dollar Tree or some other organization store, I just see if I can find anything in that stash of boxes first. I also do sometimes add dividers to those boxes. So I have a cell phone box here, and I wanted to put some dividers so that I could put sentiments inside of them and keep them separated. So I just made this with cardstock, taping them together, folding them up, etc. The next thing that I store a little bit unconventionally, although I've seen so many ways to store these, are my Copic markers. A lot of people store them on their desk. They store them like in rows or little cups, different organization systems on their desk. I really prefer to have my Copic markers portable. I like to be able to color anywhere in the house. And so I have a bag from 31 Bags, I think is what it's called. It's like a direct to sales company. I have no association with them. They just happened to make the perfect bag for what I needed. And so it's really sturdy. It has these metal in the sides here and at the top, so it stays up pretty well, yet I can easily pick it up and transport it around. And then the markers are inside these like milk crate dividers. So these I purchased at Michael's, but you can usually get them. They're like also made for like, you know, utensils or like picnic holders and different things like that. Like I feel like I see them all the time. And they happen to fit perfectly inside this 31 bag. I can't guarantee you're going to be able to recreate this, but you could totally do something similar with a bag that has, you know, structure. I will link whatever I can. I will try to find this bag, see if it's still available. And then I sort them by just kind of general colors. I much prefer this. I used to keep my colors in order, and I thought, oh, that made things faster. But really, it just didn't. I find that taking like the time to put them away was longer. So getting them out faster didn't really compensate for that. So now, because they're in this bag, I can look down and pretty quickly see the colors. And the more I color, the more familiar I am. Like I know that R59 is a dark red. So I'm going to like, you know, scan for a dark red and know that any of these lighter reds are not going to be it, for instance. But just having a portable way of storing my Copic markers was a real game changer for me. I have my color charts. I have a clipboard, and those go on the side there so that I can use them as reference and for a board to color on. And then I have a bag of images that I've printed or stamped, and that goes on the side here, so I can really just grab this bag anytime I want and have something to color. I also, as you guys have seen in the past, have marker bags. So if I have a specific set of colors that I'm using for a project like I was here, I put it in one of these pull down marker bags that sits really nicely on your desk. And then I can zip it up and toss it on top of this bag and still have that to go with me. So a lot of times I will have marker bags. I've got various ones, as you can see, and they'll sit on top with the different markers that I need for a project as well. In my craft space, I have two of the smaller, thinner Allaxes, and then I have one of the longer, like wider Allax units. But these smaller ones are where I store my stamps. This method of storage only works in the bottom 3 drawers that are a little bit wider. So this Allax drawer has a whole bunch of stamps inside. One of the things about the Allax drawers is they don't come out all of the way. And so if you put stamps all the way to the back, it will be very hard to reach them. So instead, what I have here in the back is a basket of the smaller stamps. This drawer is mostly Lawn Fawn stamps. They've been a very favorite company for many, many years. And so I have a lot of their stamps, and this whole basket back here is just like their smaller stamp sets. So this way has worked better for me because I really prefer closed storage. And I also like to be able to flip through things. Plus, it's all kind of contained because these two Kallax units sit on either side of me when I'm crafting. I actually stand to craft, but if I was using a desk, it would be the same thing. And so I was always able to just kind of reach down, flip through, grab a stamp set. I have dividers in between them. And as you can see, this is almost the exact size of the Kallax drawer. So stamp pockets would not work for me here, which is how I got into using these bags instead. But of course, like I said, you could really just cut the tops off of all your stamps and they would fit nicely on their sides here in the Kallax units. I did say that my Lawn Fawn small stamps were separated out, but for many of the other stamp companies, instead of separating out the smaller stamps, I have them mixed in. So I'm trying to find an example here for you, but here's all my Sunny Studio stamps, and my smaller Sunny Studios are just right in there with my larger Sunny Studio stamps. And so I just divide them by manufacturer because that's how my brain thinks, but by all means you could divide it by whatever works best for you. And yeah, it's something I've done for probably 7-8 years or more at this point, and I've never regretted it. I really love this system. I've never been tempted to switch over to the more popular way of doing it with the fridge bins. And again, I'm not trying to knock that by any means. It's just that I always see that, and I just wanted to show you an alternative. Hopefully this has given you some inspiration about different ways that you might want to organize your supplies. Here's another video with some more inspiration in different ways that I organize. See you in that video.